What's that awful smell? Many years ago, I was employed as a clinical speech pathologist at a child development center in St. Anthony, Idaho, for about 5 years. In 1980, I accepted another position as a private therapist at a Child Shall Speak Foundation in Provo, Utah. I also worked as a speech therapist for 6 months at the Alpine School District while I developed my caseload of private clients. One of my graduate school professors offered me the position at the school district. A week after we had moved to Utah, we were staying with Leanna's parents until we could find a place to live. During that week, my new boss at the Alpine School District asked if I would teach a graduate school class about my professional experiences at the Child Development Center in Idaho. I was a little bit reluctant to accept, but how could I decline his offer since he was my new boss and a friend since he had been one of my professors at graduate school? We had not found a place to live and hadn't unpacked the big U-Haul moving truck that was parked out front of the Badsguard's home in Spanish Fork. The day arrived that I had agreed to teach the class that afternoon. About 10 o'clock in the morning, I decided I had better start to get ready. I went out to the moving truck to get my suit, white shirt, tie, and dress shoes. I then discovered that all my clothes were packed in the front of the truck, and there was no way I wanted to unpack and repack the entire moving truck just to get to my dress clothes. I felt it was too late to cancel my teaching appointment. I thought I might be lucky and find another pair of shoes, some better pants, and a shirt. I was wrong, and feeling really stressed about what I was going to wear and if I could find anything else. All I could find was a t-shirt, some Levi's, and my Red Wing work boots. BYU had a rather strict dress code at that time, and I seriously wondered if I would make it across the campus without getting spotted by the campus police and hauled in for questioning. My boots were kind of scuffed up and didn't look very good, so I decided that a quick polish would make them look better and not so noticeable. I rummaged around in one of the closets and found some liquid shoe polish. I didn't have enough time to polish the boots, so I asked Leanna if she would polish them while I was taking a shower. As I started to get dressed, I noticed my boots looked a lot darker than the original reddish-brown color, about a very dark brown color. Unfortunately, the boots were still wet, which I thought was unusual for liquid shoe polish. When I got ready to put the boots on, they were giving off a very strong smell of ammonia. I thought that was kind of odd, so I found the shoe polish and started reading the instructions. That was when I discovered a terrible fact. It wasn't shoe polish we had used, it was shoe dye. The directions indicated it would take several hours to dry. I felt totally panicked. My boots now smelled like fresh dog doo-doo. I didn't have time to find another way to dry my smelly boots. I decided to wait to put the boots on and thought maybe I could still dry the boots as I drove over to Provo. I took turns hanging each boot out the window as I made the 30-minute trip from Spanish Fork to Provo and up to the BYU campus. When I finally arrived at the parking lot, the boots had dried a little but were still really stinky. I was relieved to get across the campus without getting stopped. I hoped my boots would not be noticed since I wasn't dressed appropriately to teach the 2-hour graduate class. I started explaining why I looked so poorly dressed. The class seemed to be amused and understood my embarrassing dilemma, which was a relief to me. Things went okay for about the first 30 minutes. I noticed that several of the students appeared to be sniffing the air as if they could smell something. A few of them even examined the bottom of their shoes. I know I started to turn red because I knew that the awful smell that they were discovering was coming from my boots. I decided a little levity might take the edge off, so I asked, "Can any of you smell something strange?" Several nodded yes. I then mustered up a smile and the courage to announce, "That smell is coming from me." I then explained that I had mistakenly used shoe dye on my boots, thinking it was shoe polish, and the smell of ammonia made it smell just like strong dog doo-doo. We all had a good laugh, I took my boots off and placed them out in the hall and taught the class in my stocking feet. I guess I learned that sometimes you just have to push forward and try to roll with the punches and challenges, because somehow it will probably work out to be okay and may provide you with a good laugh many years later.